Subscribe or you'll be visited by the toll troll. He isn't farming oyster mushrooms in a spare room/closet and literally growing money. Stay poor losers, name one enterprise easier and more profitable than this one. Heckin based, I want to grow some lion's mane and more cubensis. Mining Bitcoin unironically. Indoor shrimp farming. Selling Arduino and camera kits to these silly heads with a software to track growing. Prostitution. Basically making money lying in your bed. Imagine still playing such small ball. You silly heads don't deserve this, but let me know when you want to take the training wheels off and make real money. Indoor shrimp farming. It's like being able to scoop gold right out of a kiddie pool. It's multiplying your money by 100. Aquaponics is the heckin' future even more than blockchain. Self-production. And forget dropship silly heads who are just glorified middlemen. If you actually shrimp farm, there's no replacing you. Wholesale is 100x. Sale right to restaurants? 10,000x. Especially if you're a landlocked state, fresh seafood is literally gold. And, best part, I bought all of the equipment right from a Chinese seller for Tether. Is it safe to breathe in there over a long period of time, or do you risk inhaling spores? Like, can I do this in a spare apartment room, or do I need to rent a ventilated space? Both suck compared to basement eel farming chads. Basement eel farming brothers, where you at? Not everyone can afford a house. Growing mushrooms can be dangerous if they get moldy. It can turn into black mold, which is unquestionably dangerous to breathe in. However, it's still probably worth the risk. Name one enterprise easier and more profitable than this one, being born a woman and posting pictures of your titties for your OnlyFans subscribers? My wife, who has no degree, doesn't work, barely cooks/cleans, but earns half of my $350K salary sitting around watching TikTok seems more profitable. Indoor coral farm. Oyster mushrooms are cheap as heck. You'd need to grow literally tons of them to make any serious money. Post a YouTube lamewad that teaches it well, please. I have space a hippie friend who used to be a drug addict and I need to keep him occupied all winter. Remember the days where everyone and their mom didn't have microgreens farms? His lion's mane wasn't harvested early enough. Oh yeah. Sounds great, right? I did exactly this. The smell of rye, mushrooms and the odor of drying mushrooms has made it to the point that I really can't eat mushrooms in real life anymore. It's not worth your time to grow the amount that guy has there unless it's some novelty thing for you and your family. I highly encourage growing mushrooms for you and your family with shoebox tech with rye grain and coir. To make money doing this, you need to get a small warehouse size operation going, get industrial size autoclaves, etc. I literally built a business plan with my friend and the numbers just were feasible for what we wanted to do. I've tried to think of ways to use the wasted generation from my solar panels. If I get a battery, I'll still be wasting loads during the day. The only thing my smooth brain has come up with is running freezers to buy bulk meat, reduce grocery costs, growing weed, magic shrooms. I have minimal internal space with a moderate-sized shed unless I can grow something in the front yard where I have 400 to 500 plus feet of shaded area that's not used for anything. He doesn't farm quail indoors. I've been growing these for years just for personal consumption. It really is very easy and cheap. Raising minks for fur is where the real cash is. Have you ever seen how much money women pay for fur coats? Name one enterprise easier and more profitable than this one. Indoor cattle rancher. I rake in just under 6 figures by making toilet wine. Solid side hustle that only takes a couple hours a week. Literally anything because spare room small scale mushroom farming is a heckin' meme. I fell for it. Unless you're in an area that simultaneously has a market yet no one involved in that market, or else you're fortunate enough to be in an area that doesn't have asinine regulations for everything, you can't run a mushroom farm and make money unless you run it huge scale. Huge scale is the only way you can afford organic certification and even begin applying for the cert, which is what you need to sell gourmet mushrooms in basically any market. I wish stuff like this was real. I'm so tired of my day job, but I can't leave because I have no other source of income and just barely make 6 figures, so it'd be hard to replace. Nobody mentioning the real moneymaker, biz has fallen. It would be hard to scale mushroom farming into a business without dedicating a pretty large space, much larger than a closet. Also, unless you're all cash selling at a farmer's market that doesn't care, or to restaurants under the table, it would be tough to comply with regulations when growing out of your home. That feeling when all sweaty because the shrooms like it hot and humid. One of my friends has a couple of chickens in his apartment. They eat his leftovers and give him free eggs. Not a moneymaker but a money saver. He also uses their poop for fertilizer and grows tomatoes. Are you guys actually doing this? I grew mushrooms for a bit, but the scale at which you'd need to be turning enough profit to live on would be heckin' enormous. I grew a lot of mushrooms indoors and I just don't see how it's feasible except at a massive commercial level. Yes, I sold to restaurants, yes, at farmers markets. Those margins are high, but it's a volume issue, unless it's a fun side hustle. Cubes I don't know about because I never had the connections or risk tolerance to sell drugs, but if you could get a medicinal/pharma connect for that maybe? They're easy to grow. For footprint and value, even in today's market, it's still more profitable to grow marijuana indoors. I don't know about shrimp, maybe I should try that. At my local Asian market, I bet they'd buy sketchy basement shrimp. I'm absolutely convinced these recent mushroom shills on all forms of social media are the reason I'm seeing soy boys moving logs around and looking at dirt.